I am Dr. Swannie Jett, and I have a passion for public health for over 30 years. Now, I'm in a position to affect change. And these are the critical conversations about health in our community with the people who can help me make those changes. Good afternoon. Welcome to CEO Live Talks. I'm your host, Dr. Swannie Jett, and I have an opportunity today to bring a good friend to the stage, Mr. Watkins. How you doing, sir?
I can't complain. I think the rain kind of got me a bit this morning, but I'm blessed to be above ground.
Yeah, and you're going to be out canvassing the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you're running for.
So I'm a Democrat candidate for state representative, House District 42, and my goal is to go to Frankfort to represent a very large and diverse district in the city. It's completely different from folks that used to know the old District 42. Now includes parts of Germantown and Shelby Park. Sniltesburg goes through Old Louisville and got several other neighborhoods around, and then goes straight west to the river. Mm-hmm. It's a very wide group of people, diverse group of people, and I aim to go and represent their interest in this upcoming election cycle.
So tell me, why now?
Why not now? is the question that I got when I first was asked to do it. I was approached by the current seat holder and a few other people. Shout out to Katura Heron. She's going to the state Senate unopposed. We love that. Okay. And she talked to me about running. And at first, I said absolutely not. Right. I don't think any person with a reasonable concept of self-worth just wants to go. Right. Wants to work in government, and wants to go to Frankfort. And I talked a few times with her, a few other people, particularly my campaign manager, Roz Welch, shout out to her. And I gave all of these excuses as to why I shouldn't go. And the question, why not you, really hit me. And they knew my background in being in government for a long time, serving community. And Katura said to me, you mean to tell me you're going to take all that knowledge and all that history and you're going to withhold it from the people who need you?
Peer pressure.
Yeah, but it worked. It worked. So the time for me is you can't do change from the sidelines. I got tired of being the person who complains, being a keyboard warrior, talking about all my friends and family got tired of me talking about politics. And when God opens a door, He'll let you know when to walk in it.
Right. That is true. So everybody has a platform and why they're running. What is your platform and things you want to put your hat on?
My vision for the district is very sort of clear and simple. I want it to be the most prosperous district in the state of Kentucky, where every resident has the highest quality of life possible. And so that gets down to what I believe. And I believe in a representative government. That's one that's of, by, and for the people. We should have been taught that in civics. Right. But the difference for me is I believe that government as an institution has a responsibility to empower you, the people you love, and the things that you care about so you can take care of those things. Right. And when I started to look at what my constituents and family and friends were saying, we're not seeing a representative government in Frankfort. We know that there's not a lot of people that look like us that are in Frankfort. As a matter of fact, outside of the Louisville delegation that goes to the House of Representatives, from Louisville in the House, there's not a single black man that comes from Louisville that goes to the House. Wow. And I'm a black man in Louisville, so our voices need to be added to the conversation so we don't see the representation. I don't think most people feel like government empowers them. If you're in a community, most people feel like government is trying to de-incentivize and take things away from it. And I believe that it's not designed to do that. And in terms of taking care of yourself, the people you love, and the things you care about, we live in a time where the needs are growing. We got an economy that doesn't work for everybody. Right. Health and safety concerns. If you're a senior, you're worried about how you're going to stay in your home with rising costs on a fixed income. If you are a reasonable, aware citizen, you're worried about those that are at risk and living on the street in our houseless community, amongst Other things, if you're a parent, you got a child in public school, you're terrified about what's happening at JCPS.
Yes, you are. And I'm looking because District 42, I know, has been redesigned. There's a lot of issues that continues to permeate up in the communities. One, homelessness
Yep.
is driving. Two, housing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts to how you would address those?
Yes. So I've been dubbed the candidate of how, and as a Democrat, we oftentimes talk about what we want to see and why it's important, but the details you get down into, I think most people don't know that I am very fortunate and blessed to have a real estate background. Before I got into government, I did multifamily housing, property management. So yes, there's a shortage of affordable housing. There's definitely a shortage of affordable housing, affordable rentals, and even those who want to take that step into home ownership. Quite frankly, we live in America. This is a capitalist country. And if we look at the economics of it all, we need simply more housing. If you don't have housing, you need more of it. I'm of the persuasion that we need more housing in different price points.
Correct.
We definitely need it at what for those who are stewards of affordable housing, I'm going to say 30% area median income. Folks who listen to that know what that is, and that's those who make the least amount of money in our community. But there are bottlenecks all throughout these price points, and so those who are making 60, 70,000, 40 to 50,000, there are a lot of folks who can't find places to rent. So I think everybody, the private sector, the government, everyday folks need to join in and figure out, okay, how can we make housing more accessible? How do we add more density in areas? I applaud what the city is doing about allowing more accessory dwelling units. That's going to give us some density. I think the land bank is one of the most underutilized resources in the city government that acquires properties that have been tax liened and such, and puts those out to productive use. And also, I want to see more specialized housing for seniors who are looking to downsize. A lot of folks in my community from Germantown to Chickasaw, they're 70, 80 years old. They can't take care of their houses anymore. They want to downsize. They can't find a place to go to. And we got the baby boomers that are retiring. It's the largest generation in history before millennials, and they don't have any places to go. So,
yeah, so interesting thing you bring that up. So, I had, I guess, some knowledge of public housing because it fell up under the health department in Massachusetts. And we had 3 housing, public housing. One was for veterans. One was for mixed income, a low income. And one was for seniors. And I had never seen seniors in an affluent community in public housing. So I was quite astonished and taken back. But the reason that I began to rationalize it is because their homes in the 80s were $80,000. And their property value increased to $1 million by the time we were in the 2000s, and they couldn't afford the taxation.
yeah. Yep. So there are plenty of ways to keep people in their homes. Seniors, we got homestead exemptions, things of that nature. Other ways to add more housing is to look at the processes of how you actually get to do residential housing or multifamily housing in the city. Most people don't look behind the bricks and the mortars to see the plan reviewers and the code enforcement officers and the inspectors. We need more of those folks. I mean, you can't build more housing if it takes you 6 months to get a permit to build a house.
True.
And so we have to add more people in that profession. Get the supplies. We have trade shortages. We have there are so many things affecting housing supply right now. And I've just been fortunate enough to not only have a real estate background, but I spent 4.5 years in the city government, and urban revitalization specifically focuses on this. So when somebody asks me a question like that, I can be a big nerd and talk about I've created homeowners and affordable rentals before.
Unmask the night and join us for an evening of elegance at the 2024 Legacy Gala, Masquerade Mystique, hosted by Park Duval Community Health Centers.
Mark your calendars for an unforgettable experience on Saturday, August 17th at the majestic Muhammad Ali Center.
Every moment promises to dazzle and inspire, with all proceeds benefiting the Dr. Harvey Sloan Patient Assistance Fund, a fund created to benefit our community's most underserved.
Don't miss out. For tickets and sponsorship opportunities, visit our website or call us today. Your presence will help ensure everyone in our community has access to the health care they deserve.
Scan the QR code for more information.
Hello, I'm Dr. Swannie Jett. Please make sure you visit one of our 5 locations, not only in Louisville, but outside of Louisville and surrounding areas. Thank you.
How are you liking the show? Scan the QR code. Get information about the resources and services provided by Park Duval online at pdchc.org today. Now back to Dr. Jett.
Talk about your father a little bit. I know he was a pastor, but what type of values and morals did he instill in you? Because a lot of people, I've had on the show, some do talk about their fathers, but most talk about their mothers.
Yeah.
People forget about what fathers contribute in the raising of kids.
I think fathers are extremely important. I'm blessed to have the father that I have. And I can say that in my older years now, I think I appreciate my dad a lot more than I did earlier on, because he was hard on us.
It was hard.
He was hard on us. And being a black man in America born in 1957, you grew up in a hard world. And I didn't understand that, being born in the 80s, why I had to talk a certain way. I had to dress a certain way. Now, I grew up in the time where you had to be twice as good to be equal.
Right.
That's what I was taught.
Well, you still do.
You still do. I believe that wholeheartedly. It will sit in the front of the classroom. You raise your hand if you don't know something. We had to line up when we got our report cards in a straight line from oldest to youngest, and walk by the couch as soon as we got into our living room, because we owned a home eventually. We did. And we would give my dad a report card, and I was a good student, so I knew my siblings that were kind of, that needed a little help along the way. And so we knew what was going to happen. But my parents were invested and engaged in us. And they had at the time a high school education between the two of them. But they knew that education was our way out. So my father kept us. He didn't let us do everything. He didn't let us go around everyone. And he instilled a very deep value of faith in who you are as a Watkins, as a man, and for my sisters, as a young girl, a woman. My mom did that too. And they put us out in the world with expectations. And I think that putting us in the world with expectations.
It reminded me of the movie Roscoe Jenkins.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So tell me about your siblings.
So yeah, I have some incredible siblings. I have an older sister named Crystal, and an older brother, me. Shout out to Crystal, and then my brother John. My older brother John and my older sister Crystal. I looked up to them. I'm the middle. Crystal was smart. She carried herself very well, very ladylike, just very elegant. My brother was the coolest thing walking. And I was a nerd growing up. I mean, I had big glasses and my head was too, big for my body. I had a very awkward stage. My brother it felt like he walked on air. He talked with a rhythm. He was an athlete. And I wanted to be like that.
Right.
I mean, nobody was celebrating the nerds back in the 80s and
No,
90s.
in fact, I would laugh when you say that in my head, because I never carried a backpack to school in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could not.
Okay.
Right? Because you was perceived as smart.
Yeah.
Right? So I just stayed the dumb athlete.
Man, my brother was cool. My brother was an amazing athlete. Now he's an amazing father. He's doing great things in California. He's actually got some news. He's expecting another child with him and his wife, and we love that. My sister Lydia, right behind me. Lydia also is an athlete. Now, she's my little big sister, because Lydia is like 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And but she was a D1 athlete, played at University of Kentucky. And hard to believe that little girl that was playing basketball with me and my brother grew up one summer 4 or 5 inches and eventually became Florida Freshman of the Year. Then eventually went on to UK and played My baby sister, Shannon, she's the comedian of the group. Shannon, you don't want to roast with Shannon.
Right.
She just goes there. She's an amazing mother, and she has a lot of talent herself. She loves to braid and do things of that nature. So she's seeking to go do that. And so we all have something we're contributing to the thing called life.
Everything's something unique.
But I'm the nerd.
Right.
I'm the nerd, the public servant, the preacher.
Right.
I kept that going.
So tell me about growing up in Miami and before you transitioned to come, because that's a culture shock coming from Miami.
Yeah.
At the time you was growing up to now.
Yep.
Because I just think about just when music was changing and rap was coming in, you was a little kid and
I remember Uncle Luke and
Uncle
Trick
Luke
Daddy and Trina.
Trick Daddy, all of them was coming out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the landscape changed because of Florida.
Yeah,
And
I hope my parents don't see this because I knew Trick Daddy. But then you remember back then you had the TV where you could only press one channel up.
Right.
And then when they came home, you had to press two channels so they couldn't figure out what you was watching.
Right.
Yeah, we snuck and watched it. We did. We knew it. I had this goal that I was going to be in one of Trick Daddy's videos.
Right.
Because they was doing back then it was called like the peanut butter and jelly and like the Harlem Shake and stuff. And I could dance.
Right.
I really liked that.
Right.
Man, we couldn't dance growing up in the church. You could dance with Jesus.
Right,
You couldn't
right,
do
right,
all that
right,
other
right.
stuff.
No, you bet not.
No.
Somebody catch
And
you.
we got whoopings back then.
Yeah. You could call child protective service if you want. They'll send the kid back.
Yeah. If you made it to the phone.
If you made it to the phone.
With your right mind. But growing up, so I was born in Miami, particularly Liberty City back then.
And Liberty City is rough.
Liberty City was rough. So my parents wanted to move us, so we ended up moving to the Panhandle, which is like think Panama City.
Yeah. Well,
So we got North Florida.
Yeah.
We did that, and then we
You
settled.
know we call that Lower Alabama.
Everybody called Lower Alabama or Little Georgia or something like that.
Georgia,
Yeah, North Florida, Panama City, where my two younger sisters were born. And then we moved and settled in this small coastal town called Port St. Joseph or Port St. Joe.
Yeah.
Port St. Joe was a quaint, again, coastal town.
Rural.
Rural. Where very much like Louisville was separated by ethnic groups or racial identity, race, a particular part of town. All the black people lived on the north side of town. And we had a lot of family there. So we had the church. We had our own little microcosm. And we, lived in apartments and such before then. But I remember when we built our house, and it was a subdivision we called Lizville. And people thought we made it because we lived in a subdivision on the north side of town. But it was like this old landfill that they had repurposed. So, so much for environmental justice.
Right.
But growing up, moving from Miami to North Florida, small town, really quaint, where there was a lot of community, and then moving to Hopkinsville, Florida and Kentucky they have similarities, but in a lot of ways they're very, very different.
Hello, I'm Dr. Swannie Jett, CEO for Park Duval Community Health Centers. We conduct WIC, nutrition, and open enrollment for healthcare. So this is a one-stop shop facility for everybody in the community.
Hello, my name is Sierra Clark, and I'm the Chronic Disease Manager at Park Duval Community Health Center. Ever since I started at Park Duval over 9 years ago, I have been committed to helping patients live healthier lifestyles. I am currently serving patients in the Chronic Care Management Program, or CCM program. My team and I help patients manage their chronic conditions such as obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. In this CCM program, you will receive several benefits to help you manage your health. We offer monthly telephone calls to check in with your progress and to assist you with any concerns, assistance with scheduling your healthcare appointments, and assistance with filling your prescriptions in a timely and convenient manner. We also offer many resources to help you with the barriers you may face with eating healthy, being physically active, or monitoring your conditions at home. For more information, visit us online at pdchc.org or visit one of our health centers.
Well, the culture shock just coming from Miami to Panhandle, 'cause I still call it the Panhandle.
It's called the Panhandle.
It's very rural, and a lot
Yeah.
of people don't. Good beaches, especially by the time you get to Pensacola, they have the
Yep.
white sand.
My uncle lives there.
So that part is beautiful, but it's still very rural.
Yeah, it's very
right?
rural.
And then the ruralness of Hop to that is even different. Because
It's
at
a
least you got a
completely
little bit
different
more urban around Hop.
Yeah.
Florida, you just had the beaches, and people just come, and it's colder. That was the other difference.
North Florida?
Yeah.
North Florida does. I mean, I remember the first time I saw frost in Florida, I was like, what is this? But then moving to Kentucky and I saw snow, and I was like, man, I still don't understand the purpose that snow has on the planet. I'm welcome to be educated. But yeah.
It's in the hydrological cycle.
Yeah, I get that. I get the science behind it, but the bones, the body.
Yeah, no. Well, it has no benefits to the body.
No.
So I would just say that.
Yeah, just know. But you talked about being rural in North Florida, and that's true. Country rural and Hoptown is also very different from coastal.
Right.
We had the beach, you had the sunshine. Things were a lot slower. I think people were happier. We could go fish.
It was kumbaya because you have the sun.
Yeah.
And actually, studies have shown that people that live in warmer climate live longer.
Yeah. Vitamin
Right?
D,
So
all that stuff.
that's why it doesn't actually serve well to have snow.
Well, you're gonna cause a migration to the south and the west, aren't you?
It's already happened.
Well, that is true. And as people get older, it was a completely different world. It was very different. I moved to Kentucky maybe 5 or so months before I graduated high school.
Okay.
And I was senior class president in Florida, Beta Club president, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I had it stacked. You know, me and my brother had won a state championship in track down there, and I just knew I was gonna go to either FAMU or I wanted to go to University of Florida.
Okay.
One of the two. I just knew. Then, actually, my family moved to Kentucky before I did. I was staying with my aunt down there, and my dad said he wanted to start a church, and then he was like, well, I need you to move and come and play for the church. And I was like, play for the church? I'm about to graduate. And I thought he was joking. A week later, him and my brother came down in the U-Haul and moved our stuff out of our house and enrolled me out of school, and I was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I hated it so much.
Wow.
Hated it so much that I pretended, this is a true story, I pretended the first 2 weeks of school to be Cuban and only speak Spanish. I apologize to my guidance counselors, my teachers, my family members that I completely at the time disowned because I wanted to go home.
Right.
And in my mind, I was smart and I could speak Spanish.
Right.
And I was in AP classes. And here comes this black kid who can't speak a lick of English taking AP Cal. And they were like, what are we going to do with this kid taking AP Cal? And this, I wrapped it up, because it is a long story, but I wrapped it up really quick. I was getting away with it. I had one Hispanic friend, and I would only talk to this kid all throughout school, and I sold it. I mean, if you come from Florida, particularly South Florida, Cubans and African Americans or Black Americans, we're very similar.
Oh, yeah.
And people change their name all the time coming to the country, so they didn't know anything. I had a senior guidance counselor who I did not know. And I told you about my massive family, right?
Right.
She and my dad were first cousins. Had no idea. She was gone when I first got there, like on vacation or something. She comes back and they're like, boy, do we have a doozy for you. You got to figure out how to deal with this Cuban kid who's in AP classes and can't speak any English. She was like, wow, okay, well, where's his file?
Right.
Joshua Watkins. She said, well, that doesn't really sound very Cuban, but okay. Well, let's talk to his family. Harley Watkins, Mary Watkins. Whoa, wait a minute. Harley Watkins. I feel like I have a cousin named Harley, but we call him Jim Dandy. I don't know if that's his. So she called my dad and she said, Harley? And then they talked, caught up, moved in town. She said, is your wife Cuban? said, no. No, she's not. Okay. Did you adopt a child? Like, no. Well, your son Joshua was over here speaking Spanish. What? We don't know how to teach him. What? So, to my surprise, one day after school, I get a call to go to the office, and my parents, guidance counselor, principal, sitting in there, and my hola, ¿cómo estás? Went to, hey y'all. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Man. That's it. I'm glad I can laugh about it and talk about it now. But it's ask my siblings,
That was very
my
traumatic.
parents. It was traumatizing for me. I didn't want to be.
Right.
I got allergies coming here.
Right.
I didn't want to be in this state. I love it now.
Wow. So, yeah, that's a big culture
That's a lot.
shift.
You didn't ask for none of that.
No, that's hilarious.
It's true. It's true.
But the audacity, you played it off well.
I did.
Except you have a Noah's Ark.
I have Noah's Ark of a family.
So
anybody wanting to vote for Joshua Watkins for District 42, I am determined.
right.
I will get the job done.
Oh my God.
Multilingual at that.
Multilingual. That's a great story. So you ran track. You won
I did.
state.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know you had a track scholarship.
No, academic. So when I moved to Hoptown, I probably got into a big funk then. I didn't know anybody. I tried my best to fit in. Didn't have that chance. I didn't have those relationships. So I didn't go to college for track. I ended up getting an academic scholarship to Murray State University.
Okay.
I went there for a little while. And my sister Lydia went to UK to play basketball. And I was like, well, I want to be around my sister. So I transferred there and graduated from there. But yeah, the only way I got through high school was being in chamber choir.
Wow.
So I used to sit by myself at lunch and walk the campus. Because again, by the time it came out that this guy was not Cuban, that nobody wanted to be my friend. So I would just walk around and sneak into the music room and play piano. And then the music teacher heard me and put
So
me
what
in
grade
chamber
was
choir.
you in by the time you had to transfer?
I was a senior.
Okay, so you were a senior. So, because in Florida, you win a state.
Yep.
You know, everybody knows you pretty
Oh,
fast.
yeah, I
so what
would've.
event did you run?
I was a sprinter, I was really good on the relays, became a really good 200, 400 runner, did long jump. But we were known, my team, we were known for our relays. I mean, we would dominate